Hey guys, welcome back. Eric Smith here, contributor on Five Reasons Sports, also co-host of Scouting the Fins. We got news today that the Dolphins have tendered Keon Smith as an exclusive rights free agent. And basically that means the team is going to pay Keon Smith a 1 year contract at the vet minimum based on his experience, and that's going to be around $1 million. And no other teams can negotiate with him. So it's pretty much a no brainer. Keon Smith, if you don't remember, he was a 2021 undrafted free agent from Fayetteville State. If we go back to his pro day, all of his measurements were within range for the ideal offensive lineman for this system based on Shanahan and McDaniel draft picks, except that he only benched 15 reps and his jumps, so his vert and his broad, were just a little under target. But when you look at his size and his athleticism, coming from a small school like Fayetteville State, it's the type of player that you look at and you feel like you can get into an NFL strength program and develop him to the point that he'd comfortably be able to hit those marks. He has spent the majority of his time in the practice squad. He made some regular season appearances in 2023, and then he was having a good 2024 preseason before he suffered a torn ACL, ending his season. Like I said, he was doing well in that preseason. I would have been looking at him in consideration for the right guard job, especially after the setbacks with Isaiah Wynn and his injuries. Going back to that 2023, he did play on both sides at tackle. I did like him a little better on the left side. But what we're doing this video for is basically, I think when we don't see a player for a while, think Bradley Chubb, it's easy to forget how good they were, or in Keon Smith's case, easy to forget the type of potential that he was showing prior to his injury. So we're going to take a look at some of that film from 2023 as a refresher on what we could have waiting in the wings for the future on this offensive line. All right, let's take a look at pass blocking first. When we're talking about a young, undrafted player trying to pass block on the edge in the NFL, the biggest thing is that you don't want to see him just getting embarrassed. And you can see from these reps that Keon Smith had some really good reps pass blocking. There really wasn't any awful reps like we've seen from some of the Dolphins' more high profile young linemen. Keon's athleticism shows up in his pass protection. His ability to change direction in the middle of the pass set is an indication that he's playing with really good balance. And then also shows up in his ability to mirror when he's engaged as well. There really weren't many reps of edge defenders trying to bull rush through him, but I think his agility and balance would give him a good chance at being able to recover and reset pretty effectively. I think if he were pressed into duty in more significant games, there would certainly be some growing pains with pass protection as he continues to learn how to make that jump from a very small school to the NFL. But I have very little concern that he'd be able to develop into, at minimum, an adequate level performer in pass protection. All right, let's talk about inside zone and duo. I don't think this is a huge strength for Keon Smith. I think you can still see a bit of his explosion and strength limitations here. It's certainly not a disaster, but you just don't see the short area explosion and drive that you'd like to see if this was going to be a primary focus of your offense. At the same time, he's also not just getting tossed around and ragdolled the way we saw some players on the edge of some of our inside runs in 2024. So while I don't think it's a strength for Keon Smith, and I wouldn't look at him to be a juggernaut on the front side of power runs, I think there's just enough power there combined with his athleticism to get him into position and give these inside zone and duo plays a chance at success. All right, outside zones. On the front side of outside zones, Keon Smith's athleticism shows up, but so does his lack of explosion and inexperience. You can see some issues with landing his hand strikes, And I think we might be a little spoiled with the way Austin Jackson creates displacement on the move. So if you compare that to Keon Smith, you'll see that there's a bit of momentum lost on contact. He does do a good job of continuing to strain through the end. So I think he's better than the 2024 of Kendall Lamb that we saw as a run blocker. But this is a key area of the offense. And as an offensive tackle, that I think needs to continue to see growth if we're eventually going to see the leap for Keon Smith from a backup swing tackle to a potential starting tackle. Okay. And then backside of outside zone. So these are the reps that really get me excited about the potential of Keon Smith. You can see his athleticism pop off the screen and the way he's able to get from point A to point B at the snap of the ball and get into a good cutoff position. He also has plenty of reps where he gets into that cutoff position, and because the defender is still trying to fight over the top, you'll see Keon Smith continue that strain to create vertical movement. And I know this might seem insignificant because when you think about wide or outside zone on the backside, a block all the way across the formation might seem insignificant. But the combination of being able to create displacement on the front side and cut off the backside is the simple formula to create the cutback lanes that you see people drool over when they're talking about these wide zone run schemes. Okay, like I said from the top, my goal of this video was to kind of provide a refresher on Keon Smith and remind you of the potential that exists here. I like him a lot, but I'm also not ready to just hand him the swing tackle position. Ideally, we'll get a long in the tooth veteran to serve as a 1 year backup swing tackle while they continue to assess whether Smith is ready to take those reins or not. Think of it like a Kendall Lamb and Patrick Paul scenario where Smith is taking Patrick Paul's spot. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are for the return of Keon Smith. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon.